This is the Ball Business Podcast, where we'll be catching exciting and insightful stories about the world of football agency. Try as much as possible to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media pages. My name is Fumbi Ball, and I would like you to catch up with us. Hi, Gustavo. Good morning, or it's afternoon already. It's past 12 in Liverpool.
Yeah, afternoon. And Fumbi, thanks so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, uh, exchanging ideas as we were discussing. It's great to be talking about the business in the agency side. And as I told you many times before, your channel is really useful for agents that are in the beginning of this journey. It was great for me, and I'm sure that people that eventually will watch this interview will benefit a lot from what you created.
Oh, thank you so much. That's the veteran Gustavo Spanholi. Is the CEO of Global Player Solution, based in England and South America, Brazil. Nobody does football better than Brazil. They call it the beautiful game, Jogo Bonito.
Yeah, at least in history, that was the rule. Brazil is an unbelievable machine of producing talent. Only if you really go to Brazil and go a bit deeper in the culture with local people, you're gonna see like how spontaneous is the way young kids, teenagers, they start to develop their skills. Uh, Most of the time without like a proper system in place, and that was the reason of the historical performance of Brazil, especially in the World Cups. Recently, we have been in a the main discussion in the country right now is like, hey, how where is in which point of history we lost our ability to form especially competitive national teams. So
Yeah,
so there's a huge discussion at the moment in the country among the press and etc. But the talent is still there. It's just we see, for example, players like Vini Jr. that recently
of course.
he got the
Second,
FIFA
yeah,
second on Ballon d'Or and
FIFA best player.
so it's just a proof that the talent is still there. So
Do you think, what's your prediction for this World Cup for Brazil?
I hope Brazil goes well. Like the other, it's a very similar situation with the other time that Brazil won in USA in 1994,
Yeah,
because there was a huge gap between 1970 and 1994.
yeah.
Uh, I was like a kid, but already
I wasn't born. I was not.
yeah, yeah. This tells a bit about my age, but I was a kid, but already mad about football. I remember in the press they discussing, oh, you know what, we are in crisis. Like, where is the Brazilian way of playing football? And then eventually Brazil went there and won the World
Won
Cup.
the World Cup.
So
Wow.
I hope arriving with among the not among the favorites
Of course,
be something positive
Brazil's not it's not a favorite this time around.
yeah.
Yeah. On today's episode of the Ball Business Podcast, it's dedicated to agents. You really don't need an introduction in the business because, especially here in England and in Brazil, you are experienced in the marketing side, which is what we'll be looking at, focusing on today. How the marketing can help agents as well as footballers.
Mhm.
You're also a lecturer. For those that don't know, Gustavo is a teacher of the game, sports marketing, and very renowned, especially in Liverpool. Yeah. Without further ado, can you give us a bit introduction about yourself and how you started the business, the Global Player Solution, and how did you get into marketing? How did it start for you?
Yeah, no, yeah, kind of a bit of introduction. So my first career before football was in marketing communications agencies in my home country. At a certain point, I moved to Liverpool because I wanted to get specialized in the game, do a post graduation in the management of football on the business side. So I did that around 10, 12 years ago.
Wow.
And since that moment, I started a career in football. Uh, to start beginnings are always difficult. So I started leveraging on my previous experience. So I started to work in the marketing commercial side of sports organizations. So I worked at the FA, I worked at Everton Football Club. Uh, I also started teaching sports marketing as well because of my background, because of my academic qualification. This, by the way, is something that I love to do. I love to be teaching and mentoring young
People, yeah,
people. And at certain point of my career, I just found that was the right moment to create my own company. And last year, decided to create Global Player Solutions, which is
beautiful.
an agency that deals with talent players, but also marketing projects, MA, sports education, and here we are. Yeah.
No, that's nice. Global Player Solution. You've got like a branch in England. You've got one in Brazil. How is it having an agency? Because that's why we are here for agents. How is that for you? Combining running your business as an agent and still doing your lecturing job. So how does that? How do you combine that effectively?
Yeah. I think lecturing, teaching is it's something that allows you to have a bit of flexibility because you have part-time positions, you have sometimes just a few days a week positions, and since you are on the top of your content and what you can share is something that you can fit into your diary. The life in an agency is by no means easy as well. Like
Yeah, it's
we
not easy.
today, for those that are watching, is a Saturday, and we are doing business. We are
Of course.
active. Like tomorrow is a working day as well. So I think from the moments that you are independent in terms of you are not in a full time job, but you are running your own business, then it depends on you, on your own self organization or organizing your diary. It's very important to develop for those that are thinking about coming into this business. It's very important to have your own skills of be very organized with your own diary, time management, and give the right amount of effort for each task, prioritization, because that's the only way to manage different types of tasks that you need to do all the time. So yeah, applying a bit of everything. That's how we are doing that.
Wow. You did mention about skills, and which is very important because a lot of people will say for you to be a good agent, you have to be a good salesperson. You have to be able to sell yourself as a brand, and you have to be able to sell your player as well. Some people will say, so far you can kick the ball. I've heard on agent discussion people saying, oh, so far you can kick the ball. I can sell you. A lot of agents make those promises. But now you've made mention about skills set and being part of marketing. One of the major skill sets is branding. So how does this thing? How important is it to have that skill of being a salesperson in this agent's business?
Yeah, like I think over time the concept of what is a good salesperson has changed a lot,
Okay.
especially with internet and the online sales and for example, in the past, like we spoke about my age before, but
Yeah.
if you wanted to buy trainers, you would go for a physical store, and there was a salesperson, a proper salesperson, a
Yeah.
classic salesperson there helping you to fit the trainers on your foot and etc. Asking questions. But today we have like online stores that sell anytime, and it depends on you. It depends on the customer to find. But when we are, for example, browsing for a trainer, we don't realize that there's a lot of knowledge in e-commerce, in user experience applied on that online store. So it's the same with the role of agents and any role that depends on sales. People that this science has evolved, and there's a lot that comes before the actual pitch of a player. There's a lot that comes into branding, that comes into user experience, that comes into positioning yourself in the online space. before the moment of you sit in front of someone, a sporting director or a head of scout
Yeah.
or the CEO of a club, and actually face to face you pitch a player. To be honest, I would say that sometimes, depending on the situation, but 90% is presentation, branding, positioning, uh, all of these concepts that belong to marketing and commercial. And 10% is like face to face classical sales. So,
Yeah, but sorry to cut you short there.
yeah,
But
go,
now
go, go.
people are saying to sell players because it's a very big debate and say, oh, the branding of the player is important, the step overs, midfielders, you just need sometimes to shoot and all of those things. But now there's a lot of statistics.
Yeah,
Everybody is going to player data, and
yeah.
some people will tell you, bro, that's not relevant. You know,
Mhm.
having to agent coming there to come and sell players. Some people will say, just be a good player, give me the numbers, I'll come and bring it to the executive, I'll bring it to the scouts or the coaches. But like you now, you're saying, yeah, if you meet a one-on-one person, there's a way you can sell your market your players, even if the stats are not there. Is it? Or is there a kind of correlation? What do you think? Which one is more
I
important? Stats or
I find stats are more important. Yeah,
okay, good.
because today there's all the clubs that that are your customers. They are kind of unified behind the scenes by the platforms that make available every player in the world,
Whoa.
and all the stats about these players and all the videos about these players. So first thing when you mention the name of a player or you share a link of a player, again an online link of a player, the first thing they're gonna check the stats, they're gonna check the
Transfer
current,
market, yeah.
yeah, the current situation, recent videos. So yeah, it's quite important. I think one thing that is important in online sales and everything online is that it's impossible to hide the truth. Like it's important to just sell a player without double checking their online
Presence,
registers
yeah.
presence. So yeah, I think is if it's a good player, therefore the stats will be good. So
Of course.
no problem. But yeah,
So now, in your opinion, we could mention success on the pitch based on stats. You know,
yeah.
he's a good player. He's played 90 minutes in the last 5 games. He's played 20 minutes in the last 3 games, and all of those things. Scored these goals, run this number of kilometers, and all of
Mhm.
those things. You can measure those success. But in your opinion, in regards to marketing, how do you think an agent should measure the success of their marketing effort? You know, how do you tell a player that, oh, this is what you're,
Mhm.
just the success of being a good marketer and an agent? How do you measure that success to your player as an agent?
I think there are different ways to measure,
Okay.
which are similar to regular products. For example, views, likes, engagement. There are metrics that we use in online marketing and social media that help to measure the impact a player does. We need to to separate a bit, like what is the success of player in terms of performance for a club, or what is the success of player in terms of building a brand, building a profile to sell a sponsorship or for this player to become an ambassador of a brand. So, for example, we were speaking about stats. For a club, for a striker, player needs to play and
Yeah, you
score
need to score
goals.
goals. Yeah.
Score goals, but maybe not. This is the first thing, the most important thing. If the player also a video of the player engages, generates a lot of views and a lot of spontaneous comments and mentions and things like this, then might be the case that this player also is a good profile for a brand. So that's simple like that.
Which is good because sometimes you have good players like KDB, and who's doing perfectly well on the pitch, but some brands wouldn't want to go there because it's not that outspoken,
Yeah.
and some brands will want to work with these players, because they are more out there. You've worked with clubs. I know you've worked with Everton. You've worked with players. You even have somebody in the esports industry signed to your agent.
Correct, yeah.
No. So what strategy, having all of this situation, how do you mitigate, let's say, bad comments or negative comments about players? There's a lot of headlines. We've seen players like Raheem Sterling and, compared to Phil Foden and all of those things. Like, okay, this is a good, like, how do you manage that when it comes to the brand perspective?
I think the first thing is you manage the player before bad publicity or bad comments happen. So first thing for an agent is to orientate or to advise the players to have an attitude outside the pitch and on pitch as well that is that reflects the audience he's speaking to. For example, he needs to be aware that he plays for a club, but his relationships are not like only the coach or the teammates, but there are kids that idolize him. There are elderly people with special needs. So he needs to know that football clubs, the movement, different audiences, and they are so important in the culture of society that they can't just like, for example, in the past we had like in England, for example, Eric Cantona that just went and kicked a supporter. I think first thing is to orientate the players about their role in as a football player and in the pitch, but outside the pitch. This helps, of course, to reduce bad publicity, bad comments. But when a crisis comes up in social media, I think the most important thing is always be honest and tell the truth and stick to his position, no matter what's the episode, the thing that happened. Another thing is, which is important, is to think that you won't be like you want to make everybody happy at the same time. So they need to stick to this position, to his position, his or her position. Stick to the truth of the facts, and unfortunately, it's impossible to control all the negative impact. So yeah,
because a lot of people, we've seen a lot of bad publicities from sorry to mention that online. We've seen the likes of Fela Mendy, bad domestic violence. We've seen what happened with Mason Greenwood, and agents having to come out and navigate those situations. What advice would you have? Like, what are the mitigating factors to put in place? I know you've mentioned it's nice to orientate the players before they say it, you stick to the truth. But in extreme cases like Mendy and all of those, issues like Greenwood, which will almost cost you your career. Even like we see most recently Rashford, the coach haven't come out and say, oh, he doesn't want to play, he wants to play, he's not training hard enough. These are bad publicity and it's not good for the brand. As agents, what should you do?
I think here it comes a lot of PR techniques. I think the first thing is like in when things are heated and when everybody is, we are in the eye of the media, Twitter. I think the best thing to do is like speak the minimum or making just the minimum possible comments or public appearances.
Really?
Give opinions. Because when we are, for example, think about our life, when we are in a heated conversation or something, sometimes you say things that are you are not meant to say. Sometimes you make like verbal aggression or things like this. So it's way better to think like with to think better, leave the time, spend like if you have this in a position that you can wait 1-2 days and then make
a public statement.
A public statement with analyzing all sides of the questions. Of course, sometimes you need to act immediately. At that point, you need to just, for example, if involving legal cases, for example, you mentioned Mendy, you of course need to work with your lawyers and release a statement saying that, hey, listen, we are still, as we are understanding the facts. We limit ourselves to just at the moment be putting our efforts to try to sort out the situation. We always try to be like to stick to the rules, to play by the book. So in a further moment,
Yeah.
we're gonna be releasing further
This
comments
one,
about
yeah.
that, because that's the best situation, because sometimes you are caught by surprise. You so that's how in real life you need to reflect on the online life, so you need to be careful about how you're gonna position yourself.
In your opinion, who should speak? You, the agent, or the player?
I think should be a joint
Effort.
effort.
Okay.
It's always is always better that something comes genuinely from the player, and so that's why it's important the player be well aligned with the agent and the lawyer and the PR professional, but should come like something genuine from the player, but well thought. The player saying, "Listen, I was caught by surprise." It's genuine. It's
Of
genuine.
course.
Like, I was caught by surprise, so give me time. I will provide more details when it's possible. That's how should be a joint answer, but should be genuine from the player.
Good. We've seen a lot of players signing deals, and you already do mention it. It's nice for you to have sporting success that will inadvertently affect how people see you outside. Because if you play well, it's good publicity for you. A lot of brands want to associate with you. How do you know what brand is best to work for your players? Or, a lot of brands will come and say, okay, chill. I don't think we should work with this brand. I think this is the brand that we should work with. What are those things that determine that for your
Yeah,
players?
I think again, like, since there's no way to hide anything online on
Yeah.
social media, needs to be genuine. Needs to be something that comes from the player, from the from what the player believes in life, brands that the player normally uses. The player is gonna ultimately, the last word is from the player. So if the player sits down with the agent, the advisors, and say,
Yeah.
"Listen, I don't do betting, advertising for betting companies."
What if the money
I,
is good? What if the money is good and
it depends on the player. It's a discussion that the player,
Okay.
if it's a principle from the player,
Of course.
fine, we rule out. And then you define a planning with the player. Hey, which brands, which categories do you think it sticks for you? The other way around is true as well. For example, I have a player that he drinks like a still water from
Yeah.
a determined brand, and this is natural from him. It's genuine. So
It's easy.
is
Easy
easy.
for
We are
you.
in talks with the brand for having an endorsement for that brand, because it's not all the cases like this, but it's something that is genuine. So it has bigger chances to
To
work,
succeed, yeah.
to succeed. Yes.
Because we've seen, there was a scenario where we've seen is a Cristiano Ronaldo now removing the can of is the Coke, and the shares really fell down. That's like a lot of practical scenarios.
Yeah.
We see what Neymar did when he was first in Santos with the Mohawk, for the World Cup, and
Yeah.
when he was coming, and a whole lot of Brazilians were doing that for their kid, or the kids wants to be called Neymar.
Yeah.
So these are good effect of branding and marketing in the side of the business.
Yeah.
But now you've said a player has to align with the brands that make sense to him or her for it to be easy. Ethically, what if like I did mention, like the money is good and probably the person doesn't even drink Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Digressing, I've seen like maybe Michael Jackson doing the Pepsi endorsement and he doesn't even drink Pepsi. He said he wouldn't hold the can and he still did the endorsement. So what do you think, in that kind of situation? How do you advise your player and say,
I
just
think
go for this deal? There's a way we could work around it.
I think it's all down to the player and his lifestyle.
Of course.
It might be the case that the player say, I don't drink refrigerants at all. It's a position. Okay, fine. But might be the case, I prefer not to drink refrigerants, but at the same time, he's a player that, hey, listen, is part of my career plan that I have a short career and I want to to tap into as much opportunities as possible. It's a good financial deal,
Of course.
I am okay. It's something that I will do because another principle again is based on principles.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem. Like we know that a career of a player is short. If a player say, "Listen, I know that I won't be earning money for 30 years. I'll be earning for 10 years. So I want to maximize my opportunities at the moment. That's a principle that he has for his career. That's fine. That's okay. Since I think the mistakes we see in branding and stuff is when players do not respect their principles and they are not well aligned with their advisors, agents included, and when the agent just think about himself, about the player.
About the commission, it's 25%
Yeah,
for marketing
yeah.
deals.
Like
That's
we are
huge.
not here to we are not here to judge, but since we are discussing
Yeah,
mistakes, we are discussing about things that do not go down well with fans and supporters. We need to discuss that. When we have alignment, when we have respect for principles, we reduce the risks of these sort of mistakes.
Issues,
Let's
yeah.
say, yeah.
So now we see a lot of players doing charity work, going to hospitals, which is very, very lovely. Which is also very good. They call it is a CSR now for these players, community social responsibilities. So like leveraging on community and charitable activities. Do you think it can be used to enhance the player brand, or some people say it's not genuine? How do you weight that in?
No, I think is definitely something that needs to be on a player's agenda, because as we discussed in the beginning, like uh, players, especially football players or any sportsmen, sportswomen, they have a role in society that sometimes we forget.
Of course.
We stay concentrated on the deals and commercial deals and performance deals or club deals, but we don't imagine like how large is the influence these people have. Sometimes football or esports
Yeah.
is something that's it's a motivation for someone continue living. Someone that suffered such a had such a setback in life, or was born with some special needs, and this is true. There's so many cases about
Of course.
that.
Yeah.
And so this is such an important part of a player's life, a player's role. So I think part of his efforts should be in this sense, because it's part of this role as a sportsman, sportswoman, to give their influence back to
the society.
to causes like this.
I have to mention it there.
Yeah.
So I know you are doing one. I saw your message. For is it raising money for cancer, which is very good. Is it?
Yeah.
Which hospital is that?
It's called is here in Liverpool called the Clatterbridge Charity, Cancer Charity.
Cancer charity.
They
That's a good job.
they do an amazing job in supporting people from Merseyside region that suffer from cancer and other illnesses related, and which is very common here in the UK. People go for to run half marathons. Myself, I'm not in this level yet, so I will run only 10K. But people,
10K is still a lot.
Yeah,
Trust me.
yeah, it is. And people fundraise when they do this, when they put effort in this stuff. So I decided to run a 10K race next month, and decide to raise funds for this institution. Yeah.
There's a lot of arguments regarding that. We're still dwelling on this charity cause because the society say, players earn millions, tons of millions already.
Yeah.
So it should be natural for them to do it. Do you think it should be natural? Can't a player decide, okay, I don't want to do this. This is what I want to do. And how does that affect the players?
I wouldn't call natural, but I would say it's part of the role. It's part of their
role to give back to the community, to the society.
And I'm not telling that he's gonna do 100% of that. If you consider 100%, why don't he gives like 10% of that? For it's already a lot, And again, like I think sometimes society misunderstands. Like players are not to blame; they earn millions sometimes. Again, it's just a small part of the players that make millions. Most of the players don't make
millions, of
millions.
course. A lot of people don't know that. Trust me.
Yeah, and it's not their fault to make millions. They make millions because
They good.
TV rights
Yeah.
pay millions, and the clubs receive a lot of money from TV rights, and they are in a position that they can pay for the best talent, so they are benefited by an industry that created this model. So yeah, but I think yes, as we were discussing before, doing CSR is part of their job. Doesn't need to be 100%, but they need, as part of their job, they need to do part of this in CSR. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. Now we've been dwelling so much on the players. Now let's talk about agents. For
Yeah, yeah.
agents starting out,
Yeah.
branding is a very, very big deal in the industry. You
Mhm.
have to be out there. You have to position yourself so that
Yeah.
even players can come to you, or you get good collaborations with other industry experts. How do you advise new agent to start their branding or marketing aspect for themselves as a personal brand?
Yeah. For example, in my case,
Yeah.
I had an initial advantage because I came from this industry. So I had notions about design, about visual identity,
Yeah.
which is the start. But today we have so many online platforms, even the social media platforms. They offer some basic tools to to, to edit videos, to do graphs, but filters like this, and that there are some accessible tools. Sometimes they are free to lay out, to design, to create a brand, a logo, and to portray your image in a good way. That I think agents, they need to start when they are starting on that career. They can't underestimate this element of a new business, which
Wow.
is marketing and visual things. So my advice is just for them to do their homework in terms of how I present myself in a tight way, well organized, because this seems invisible but count points. Like it's like, for example, you are in any career, you are designing your CV. We have so many templates about CV. The CVs that stand out are the ones that are well
I get the job.
organized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's yeah. In any path of life, if you present yourself in an organized way,
Yeah.
you're gonna have an initial advantage.
So there's a whole lot of this discussion in marketing, especially in branding. Because I remember in FBA where we were in school, then there's a special course dedicated to sports marketing on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this thing that it's not nice for you to put too many irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for agents, a lot of them focus on Instagram, some focus on LinkedIn. I've seen even videos on TikTok now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sports Law Nathan Chambers giving very good points on TikTok. You should check that out. So some people are on Facebook, but for you, let's say I'm starting out, I really don't know how to put this content out there. I really need to focus on one. Which platform do you think is the best for agents now?
uh, Again, it's a marketing principle.
Okay.
It's a marketing principle that the first thing you need to figure out is who you are talking to. So you need to understand your audience, right, and where your audience is. Some agents might speak direct with clubs. Some other agents want to have a great relationship direct with players. Some agents want to seal partnerships with other agents. So just in my initial exposition, I spoke about three audiences.
Three audiences, yeah.
I spoke about young players, about clubs, and about other
Directors,
agents.
yeah, and other agents.
So agents need to first figure out, okay, who I will focus first. So if this audience is on LinkedIn, I should go to LinkedIn. Or if this audience is on Facebook, I should go to Facebook. Or if this audience is just, for example, they are attending events and they avoid by direct communication via social media, okay, perhaps I will have a basic presence in social media, but I will focus my efforts, my money in attending events. So it all depends on this initial approach and where you're gonna strategize to get your initial deals.
So there's no cut it all approach. You just have to know what you want to do and you
Yeah.
focus on that. Yeah, for now, what you said, I can say, okay, for us at the ball business, we are even more focused on, other agents and commercial partnerships than even players and stuff like that, which is also good. We've got some players, but, yeah. So I think that is also very, very important, and it's nice for agents to keep that in mind. Yeah, now you do esports. It's
Mhm.
not so popular with agents.
Yeah.
Now we are not even going to go directly into esports marketing and branding. So how is the esports space for for agents who want to come into it? How is the space like?
Yeah, it's a very interesting space. It's growing a lot. It's a space that it's somehow hidden from the mainstream because again about audiences.
Yeah.
The customers, the players, and even the executives in this industry, they are very young. So we are speaking about kids from 8 to young adults till 25, let's say 28. So players, for example, when they are 22, they are already veterans in this space, just to give you an idea. But it's very promising. There's a lot of prizes that are offered by tournaments.
Wow.
The salaries that are being paid by the clubs in the case are called organizations.
Yeah.
The salaries are interesting. Of course, they don't compare to top salaries in conventional football, but they are decent. For example, they are superior to some leagues, if you consider. It's a space that is much more well explored by brands than even football. I would say the presence of brands is more consistent across the whole industry than in football, where we see brands just get interested by players and clubs that play top divisions. I would say it's an interesting space. It came to my table through some connections, and I can say it's been a fantastic experience, and it's something that I had worked before when I was working in other sports organizations, and because my
Yeah.
experience, I could translate it to represent this player I'm representing. But it's a very interesting space, a very promising space. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one of your players was at the last World Cup.
Yeah. He's one of the top players in the world in the Rocket League, which is a game title. And FIFA, when I attribute when FIFA parted ways with EA,
Yeah.
they decided to put their bets into 3 titles. One was eFootball, the other one was Football Manager, the third one was Rocket League. These 3 titles, they replicate football situations. So FIFA decided to organize a World Cup for each of these 3 titles. So the first World Cup was here in Liverpool for Football Manager, and the second World Cup was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for eFootball and Rocket League. And this player he qualified to represent Brazilian FA in the FIFA World Cup.
That's a good player.
Yeah,
Trust me.
no, he's an elite player.
Top player. Yeah.
Top player. Yeah, and he was in December over there, and he got among the top 4 finalists.
Yeah, I was following it up. I was really following. I remember chatting you up and say, "Oh, congrats, he's won this game."
No, he does really well. Yeah.
So for agents who doesn't have that connection or that opportunity for that kind of thing to come to their table, how do they get into it?
I think it's a matter of developing connections in this space. Today is a bit more accessible in terms of you can start like from if you don't have any connection, you always have like sometimes you know someone that works for a brand that sponsors some esports initiative, or you have a connection. For example, I have a connection that used to work for the Premier League in
Yeah.
conventional football, and now he works for one of the top orgs in the UK. So you always find across your connections a starting point. But let's say that you start from zero. So again, online you find websites, social media. You can
Yeah,
start
you learn in the
sending.
game. Yeah.
And here is an important skill for agents, because sometimes you need to start conversations from zero, from the scratch. So you need to develop your skills in terms of how to you open a conversation, how you take the initiative, and you pose your words in the right way to open these doors.
Wow, that's really nice because is a space the ball business is trying to explore. And there are a lot of players back home in Africa. It's not so popular, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it is here in this part of the world. But yeah, like you said, thank God I've got you, and I'll just keep informing you how it starts. You're supposed to, start writing books, veteran in the game, sports marketing, how agents can, key into your knowledge. You've been teaching for how many years now, Gustavo?
I think combined years around, let's say, 10 years combined. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not full time all the time, but
Yeah, of course.
I always, even when I was linked to other sports organizations, I was doing like a participation here, or delivering a guest session there. So yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
So your book that is going to come out, or your kind of platform where people can learn from it. Can you give us a kind of insight as to what we are expecting in terms of that when you want to bring that out, so that for agents who want to learn, from agents who really need to get insight into branding their company and branding their player, Global Player Solution, that's global GPS, globalplayersolution.com. You could go there, have a chat with Gustavo. But just let us get a bit of hint as to what we are expecting to come out of the book.
Yeah, we actually is still in very early days an
Okay.
idea of publishing a book about that,
Yeah.
an ebook, but it would be like a compilation about
Your
lessons,
experiences, yeah.
lessons, experiences
Lessons,
that we learned over a professional life. Like in this agency road, we are in the beginning of the journey, but in the sports industry, we already have like some years of experience. So yeah, actually, it's in very
Early
it's
stages.
early stages. It's
Yeah.
still an embryo, but yeah, when it's going to be launched, we can speak further about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's nice. Finally, like we always do to close the podcast, it's been an interesting episode, and I really say thank you again. Learned so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So, what's that big advice that you give to aspiring agents, coming into the industry?
Big advice. I would say resilience. I think is the biggest advice. Live one day per day. So resilience incorporates the concept of patience. So yeah, it's a very competitive road. It's a very competitive road, and everybody dreams to work in this area. So be patient. Be patient, because sometimes it's not tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but over the years you are able to build a career on that. So resilience, I would say, is the
Just keep grinding, like they say in
Yeah.
the street. Like, yeah.
yeah, it's a very competitive industry. So,
Very, very.
So be calm, be patient, and do your work every day. Don't expect things to happen tomorrow. And
Of course.
yeah, patience, resilience, and one day things work out. Yeah.
A lot of people, don't know how much agents go out there and put in the work, how hard and how difficult this job is, like every other day job,
Yeah,
mentally
yeah.
stressful, and even the amount of money you spend to even achieve, a little bit of success. A lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah.
They don't see it enough. So yeah, thank you so much, Gustavo.
No, my pleasure. My
yeah,
pleasure.
Thank you.
As I said, I always like to speak with young professionals, students, and very happy to always be talking about that. And thanks again for the invitation. And I will repeat one more time, like this channel, Football Business, was very, very helpful in
Thank
my
you so
journey.
much.
And I hope it keeps helping people to start their journeys in this area.
Thank you so much, Gustavo. This is your city, Liverpool. Do you
Yeah.
support Liverpool or Everton?
I support both, you know.
Ah, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you support Santos. You support your team back home.
No, the team I support back home is Inter. Is my team that
Inter,
I grew up supporting in my home city of Porto Alegre, Brazil, and is the only team I still like follow, support as a simple fan, you know.
Yeah,
Other than that, is business. I'm a professional,
of
so
course.
yeah. So that's how I see things today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe to our channels because that's the only way you can help us to grow. Looking forward to meeting you guys again in the next episode. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching.